So let's go ahead and we're going to learn about functions now. So let me show you a simple example of why you might want functions in Bash and how you can use them. And to show you this example, I'm actually not going to use functions, and I'm going to show you why. All right, so now we have this hello script where we can give it a name like Dave, and it prints hello Dave. That's great. Could we say hello to multiple things? Because if we do, Dave, foo, bar, baz, it doesn't care. It just prints hello to Dave. There's actually a couple different ways to do this, and I'm going to show a couple different examples. So let's make a new program. Let's make a program called Greeter. All right, so Greeter is a brand new program. I'm not copying over the other one, so I'm just writing this from scratch. So let's save that, chmod plus exit, because we want it to be executable. Let's go ahead and vim Greeter. So we could do for name in, if you remember this syntax, $@, which are all the arguments, do, done, and then here we put what we actually want to run. So we could, echo hello name, but we already have a program that does that, right? We already have the hello program. We can do ./hello. Remember, dot is our current directory, /hello. So notice that we're using ./hello here. If we just had this, it's going to look into all our paths. Remember that .path variable from earlier? We don't want that. We want to run the hello script that's in our current directory. So dot is our current directory, /hello. Now we can give it a single argument of name. So this is a script calling another script. This is one of the beautiful things about scripts, is scripts can call each other. So we can run greeter. Nothing runs because I didn't give it any arguments. We can do greeter foo bar baz, and now it says hello to foo bar baz. It executed that script on foo bar and baz. How cool is that? Now the reason I use that example is because ./hello is an external program. It doesn't need to be its own program. We're technically relying on another script that we wrote. We could rewrite it, and we could rewrite it in here as a function. And this is the power of Bash when it comes to functions. They are mini programs. This is how you should be thinking of functions. You should be thinking about them as mini programs because that's what they are. So we'll define a function called greet. We'll do that by using greet, open and close parentheses, open the curly brace, close the curly brace, and now we have a function called greet. So greet will take an argument. Let's say the name equals $1, and then we will echo hello name. So no different than what we've been doing currently. We go down here and we swap out ./hello for greet. We call it no different than how we would call an external program. We just call greet. It finds out that it's a function on top. It looks for name equals $1 and it prints hello name. Super simple, super easy to work with. There's one thing before I run this I want to make you aware of, just because it will bite you if you've never seen it before. This name variable is technically global. So when I set name equals $1, it's overwriting name down here. Now they are set to the same thing, but it is technically a global variable. When you are in functions in Bash, you want to use the local keyword. If you use the local keyword, then you're saying, hey, I actually don't want this to exist outside of this function. So you can do that without polluting the global namespace. So remember to put local in front of your variables in Bash like this. So let's save this and let's run greeter. Let's rerun it with foobar and baz. Hey, it works. We get the exact same output that we wanted because it's running the function. We could say hello name from func. And if we run it, we can see that we get from func because it's running from the function. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. We have made our own little program. We don't even have to do a for loop here. We could just say greet Dave. And then if we just run greeter, it will always end with a greet Dave. So if I do greet, foo bar, it'll be foo bar Dave. Cool. Awesome. And something to be aware of with functions. Functions, again, they are like mini programs. So they output to standard output. They emit data to the screen as you're seeing there. We are free to write this to a file if we wanted to. We are free to store this in a variable if we wanted to. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's append these to a file, the ones that come from an argument, and then let's put the greet Dave in the variable and then say var is var. So let's go ahead, let's save that. Let's put the source code up here because I know there's a lot going on, and let's run greeter foo bar baz. So as you can see, nothing got printed here. So the data went from this for loop with this greet command into file.txt. As you can see, it's here. We use the append notation. And down here, we set the variable var equal to greet Dave. And then we said var is var. So we have var is hello, Dave from func. So this is one of the powerful things with bash. We can just sort of move data around. We can treat functions like they're little programs, so we can pipe them. We can redirect them to files. We can store them in variables. We can do all sorts of fun stuff. The last thing to keep in mind here, I'm going to delete this line before we don't end up, I don't want to trash that file anymore. The thing also we can do is, yeah, we have the output of it. That's great. But we can also check if it failed or not, because it's like a mini program. So it has an exit code. It technically will return successful here because it will return whatever the last command is. The last command's echo. Echo will be successful, so it'll return success. We could manually return success here with a return 0. Return is a keyword that only works inside a function. So if we ran this, we can see that the 0 is at the bottom. If we change this to return 5, we get a 5 at the bottom. That's a failure, okay? So this is super useful. This is how we can get data out of the function. You know, we can save it into var, but then we also have $? So we can get the return code. This lets us know if it was successful or if it was not successful. So something to keep in mind, something to be aware of, something really powerful when it comes to bash functions.